Hey kids, it's Mr. Castellano. Let's read this story, The Fun They Had by Isaac Asimov. But before we do that, why don't you think, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy school before the pandemic? Explain. For myself, it was about a 6. It's alright. I see kids, there's drama, there's laughs, and at the end, we make it through the day. Question number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think you will enjoy school when things go back to normal? Explain. Well, if we ever go back to school, I think for me, it'll be about a 9. Come to think about it, I like the drama. I love the smile and the laughs. I just didn't appreciate it before. And now that I'm on the screen teaching you, I appreciate it now. Let's read the story, shall we? Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary. On the page headed May 17, 2155, that's about 135 years from now, she wrote, "Today, Tommy found a real book." It was a very old book. Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. Imagine that. They turned the pages, which were yellow and crinkly, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to, on a screen. And then, when they turned back to the page before, it had the same words on it that it had when they first read it the first time. "Gee," said Tommy, "what a waste. When you're through with the book, you just throw it away, I guess. Our television screen must have had a million books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away." "Same with mine," said Margie. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. He was 13. She said, "Where did you find it?" "In my house," he pointed without looking, because he was busy reading. "In the attic." Margie was scornful. She was upset. "School? What's there to write about school? I hate school." Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. He was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools with dials and wires. He smiled at her and gave her an apple, then took the teacher apart. Margie had hoped he wouldn't know how to put it together again, but he knew how, all right, and after an hour or so, there it was again, large and black and ugly, with a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. That wasn't so bad. The part she hated most was the slot, where she had to put homework and test papers. She always had to write them out in a punch code they made her learn when she was 6 years old, and the mechanical teacher calculated the mark in no time. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted her head. He said to her mother, "It's not the little girl's fault, Mrs. Jones. I think geography sector was geared a little too quick. Those things happen sometimes. I've slowed it up to an average 10-year level. Actually, the overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory." And he patted Margie's head again. "Oh, great. So she thought she was doing bad, but it was the computer's fault." Margie was disappointed. She had been hoping they would take the teacher away altogether. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. She said to Tommy, "Why would anyone want to write about school?" Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes. "Because it's not our kind of school, stupid. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago," he added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully. "Centuries ago." Margie was hurt. "Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago." She read the book over his shoulder for a while, then said, "Anyway, they had a teacher." "Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man." "A man? How could a man be a teacher?" "Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions." "A man isn't smart enough." "Sure he is. My father knows as much as my teacher." "He can't. A man can't know as much as a teacher." "He knows almost as much as I betcha." Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. She said, "I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me." Tommy screamed with laughter. "You don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building, and all the kids went there." "And all the kids learned the same thing?" "Sure, if they were the same age. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently." "Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book." This is a heart in Korea. "I didn't say I didn't like it," Margie said quickly. She wanted to read about those funny schools. They weren't even half finished when Margie's mother called. "Margie, school." Margie looked up. "Not yet, Mama." "Now," said Miss Jones. "And it's probably time for Tommy too." Margie said to Tommy, "Can I read the book some more with you after school?" "Maybe," he said nonchalantly. That means coolly, like he knows everything. He walked away whistling, the dusty book tucked beneath his arm. So the book is like right here. And he's walking away. Margie went into the schoolroom. It was right next to her bedroom, and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. It was always on at the same time, every day except Saturday and Sunday, because her mother said little girls learned better if they learned at regular hours. Make sure you sign on at the same exact time that you're supposed to have the class. Margie did so with a sigh. She was thinking about the old schools they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom, going home together at the end of the day. They learned the same things so they could help one another on the homework and talk about it. And the teachers were people. Hmm. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. "When we add the fractions 1/2 and 1/4. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. This makes me want to cry. Guys, I should let you know this story was written in I don't even know. Oh, this was written in 1951. Here we are, 170 years later. Dream come true. Nightmare come true. Actually, this is alright. I don't have to wear a tie anymore. This is lit. Okay, here's the homework, kids. Write down 3 questions you have about the story. You can start a question with who, what, when, where, why, How? 3 questions. That's all you got to do. I'll teach you to sort them out later on and we'll have a discussion in class. Number 2, tell me, what are your overall thoughts about the story? You like it? You hate it? Tell me why. Number 3, what is the central idea of the story? See? With every story, the author's trying to make a statement about the world. Tell me, what statement is the author making about the world when he wrote this in 1951? And number 4, show your face. Oh, jeez. See? This is what happens when teachers are people. People make mistakes.
Be prepared to show your face and discuss the story in class. There you go. This is my 6-day plan. Psycho ABC. Hopefully I see you soon.
Read the story. Be prepared to discuss. Do your homework. I'll see you later. Deuces.